In your inaugural, and I was listening on headphones for the translations, I just want to check this. You said, we have achieved this great victory and made this a safe country, and that's the predicate for everything that follows. And the next thing we're going to do in this term is to work on the economy to make it better.
Grow the economy, yeah.
And you said, correct me if I'm wrong, you said, I have a 3-point plan. And I'm thinking, I wonder what that is. I don't know, start a Federal Reserve Bank? And you said, the first point of my plan is seek God's wisdom.
Yes.
That is what you said.
Yeah, I said that, yeah.
Why would that be the first point of an economic plan?
Why wouldn't it be? Why should it be the first part of the plan?
Well, I think it should be.
Yeah.
But I can't...
And most people would think that, right?
I've never heard any leader of any country say that.
Because they probably forgot to represent the people that elect them, yeah. It's like you ask most of the people that elect the politicians, they say, yeah, that's fine, yeah, I believe that. But then you ask the politician, and he will say, no, that's not. I mean, so who is he trying to pandering to? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right?
Do you think...
So it's a common sense thing to seek God's wisdom.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a prerequisite for wise decision making, I would say.
Exactly. So that's the first part of our plan.
I don't know why it makes me laugh. Do you think that that's one of the reasons that your successes, which are just measurable, I'm not saying this for ideological reasons, but just a fact that you've transformed the country in a good way and that you're literally the most popular elected leader in the world, again, not speculation, provable fact, you'd think that would be greeted in the hemisphere as this amazing thing, like what's going on in El Salvador? And instead, there's been this, what's going on in El Salvador?
Yeah.
There's been hostility.
Yes.
Do you think that's why?
I'm not sure, but one of the reasons is that we don't pander to them. So probably they don't like that. It's probably a reason. It's like there's, I'm not going to go into conspiracy theory. I'm going to go into provable facts, right? Like you said. So there's worldwide agendas, right? These are provable facts, right? They have benchmarks that they need the countries to follow and they need the countries to do. This is, out there, right? But sometimes if you work on those things, you're probably neglecting the important things for your people, the things that your people are really asking for. Give you an example. When we arrested the gang members that were killing so much people that we were the murder capital of the world, literally the most dangerous place in the whole world, more dangerous than Haiti, right? More dangerous than Iraq. This was literally the most dangerous country in the world. We have triple the amount of the murder rate that Haiti has right now. With all the mayhem that they have, we have triple that here. So what do you have to do? You have to stop that, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, you don't even need to have a big thought process. You have to stop that. That's the first thing you have to do. When we did that, we got huge condemnations. You name it. Say an organization, we got a condemnation from them. So, and a lot of them were human rights organizations. And you would ask, but what about the human right of a woman not to be raped? I mean, what about the human right of kids to play or to be free or to go to the park? And what about the human right to live? Or the human right to walk in the street, right? But no, they were worried about the human rights of the killers, which they have human rights. I don't say they don't. They're humans. But if you have to prioritize, what will you prioritize?
Yes.
Right? The human rights of the honest, hardworking, decent people, not the human rights that they do have, but you won't prioritize the human rights of the killers and rapists and murderers. And so we secured the country, and we did it with no help from any other country, and with huge condemnation in everything that we were doing. Everything. I mean, we changed the Attorney General. We got so much condemnation because we changed the Attorney General that we need to change to prosecute the murderers. So we basically tried to block every step of what we were doing. And now it's that the results are there, that it's, they're tangible, measurable, undeniable. Now they don't know what to do, because a lot of other countries are saying, maybe a lot of other countries similar to ours that have similar problems, they are saying maybe we should do that too. But they don't want that because that's not in their agenda.
But I guess that's why I came here, to be totally honest, is what your success says about the country that I live in, or other countries in the hemisphere or in Europe, where people are killed by the thousands every year. And what you've proven with very little money and no help from anyone else is it's not that hard to fix. Therefore, all that killing must be a voluntary decision that my government and many other governments are making about their own citizens.
You can make that logical.
Well, I don't know what other conclusion to reach. If El Salvador can do it, what's going on here?
Yes, you can make that logical conclusion. I think that's probably what they are afraid of. Because, I mean, we don't have weapons of mass destruction, right?
No.
So why are they afraid? Why would they take so much time in make condemnations to El Salvador, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, you didn't send a man to the moon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think they're afraid of the example. Because a lot of people might say, hey, we want that too. If they can do it with no money, with very few resources, and with a huge problem, because I heard some people say, oh, El Salvador could do it because the problem was not that big. I'm like, we're literally the murder capital of the world. How bigger can it get, right? We were literally the most dangerous place in the world, 3 times more dangerous than Haiti right now. So, I mean, how bigger can the problem get? And at the same time, we had very few resources, and we were able to do it with no civilian casualties. After we started the war on gangs, we had no civilian casualties, and we lost 8 between police officers and soldiers, and we basically eradicated all crime.
So
and we arrested 70,000 gang members. Which the number is not a number that just came up. That's the official number that all the organizations said we had of gang members. And you can watch the World Bank reports, etc. They said El Salvador has around 70,000 gang members and 500,000 collaborators. So we spared the collaborators basically, and we only got the gang members. Why? Because most of the collaborators were just family members, yes. Or the woman that sell tortillas, and she had to tell, oh, the police is coming. Because if not, she would probably have been killed by the gang. So most of the collaborators were not really criminals,
yes.
but just people living in a society that was controlled by gangs. The government the real government was the gangs. Just like in Haiti, you have a fake government and you have the real government. The government in Haiti is the gangs. It was like that. You had a formal government, of course, with offices and everything, but you have the real government in the territory, which were the gangs.
So, I mean. And I know you want to stick to the facts, but I mean, at some point you do have to, this is a really important question. Why would a government that has the means to end violent crime, not all, there's always going to be crime, people breaking laws, but violent crime, people murdering and raping each other,
yes.
is a voluntary decision that a government makes. Why would a government choose to have that?
I don't know. I don't know. I can make up theories, but I really
But do you have a gut instinct about it?
I think it's a combination of factors, like everything.
Yes.
They might be evil people that that are doing it on purpose, of course, and probably planning stuff. I don't know.
Yes. Possible.
Yeah, possibly. At the same time, there's a lot of people that they just being fed these ideologies, and they think they're doing the right thing.
Yes.
Right, like allowing shoplifting, for example. Yes. That's the most stupid thing you can think of, but they do it.
Oh, you don't allow shoplifting here?
No, of course not. So, but you would think, why would anybody think allowing shoplifting would be a good idea?
I don't know.
Why? I mean, that's the stupidest thing to think, right? Or giving away drugs. I said this in an interview. Or giving away drugs. Let's give away drugs, right? It's like very stupid things. And you would guess that some of the people enacting these policies are not necessarily evil. They're just, they've been fed this ideology. They think they're doing the right thing. It's like, I'll give you an example. I think a month ago or something like that. Yeah, like a month. The Spanish police arrested a gang member that had fled El Salvador. So the gang member escaped. He flew. He went to Spain, and with an international operation between the police of our police and the Spanish police and Interpol, they were able to arrest the guy. So in those cases, you need to do an extradition because it's an automatic, international operation. So they just get the guy, process him and send him.
Yes.
Send him to the original police for they file the claim. So the Spanish police was very proud of the arrest. So they put it up in Twitter. So they said, we just arrested this gang member. So I quoted the tweet, and I said, great, send him, we'll take care of him, right? So that was used in his court hearing in Spain as a proof that he wouldn't get a fair trial here. So he was protected by Spanish laws, and he stayed there in Spain.
Maybe they don't have enough gang members in Spain.
Exactly. So, I don't care if they want to keep him. It's a mouth that we don't have to feed. It's a mouth that we don't have to feed, right? Yes. But so they can keep him. But the thing is that you would think, why would the Spanish government want an extra gang member?
Yeah. Yes.
And it's not necessarily out of evil. It's just that the laws, the system, the things that are being fed to the judge, to the prosecutor. So they think that that my tweet was too mean, and this gang member, his rights will be not respected, or he wouldn't get a fair trial in El Salvador, so he had to stay in Spain to be protected. They know he's a killer. They actually arrested him because of that. It was an international operation. And everything, they know he probably murdered dozens of people, but they feel the need to protect them.
So what's sad about that is that that's a sign that your defense mechanism no longer works.
Yes.
And that your society is dying.
Yes.
And Spain is in my opinion, a
Western
wonderful
civilization is reaching a point into it will start failing.
I think that's obvious to those of us with great sadness. To those of us who live here,
unless things are done, of course, you can always do.
So, okay, two-part question: why do you think that's happening? Because it is recognizably happening in real time before us, and what can be done at this point to reverse it?
Well, everything erodes and degrades. That's just the laws of nature.
Yes.
We do. That's why we die. We age and we die.
Yes.
You can slow it, right? You can, stay fit, diet.
Yeah.
But, you eventually gonna age and die. You cannot avoid that. Same happens with anything. Infrastructure. I had an argument with at the beginning of the government. I had an argument with my Ministry of Public Works, my Minister of Public Works, because there was this neighborhood that was built in an area that you shouldn't build things. So there it was a mountain. Almost the soil was basically flour. So it was the mountain was falling and the houses were falling with the mountain. So to save the people, the Ministry of Public Works started building a huge wall, to stop the houses from falling, right? So they were building this huge wall, and of course I can't micromanage everything. So when I saw the wall being built, I called my minister. I said, "What are you doing? You won't stop the mountain." And I said, let's build houses for the people somewhere else. It would be cheaper, and he said, no, the wall will be fine. We have engineers from international corporation and everything. It will be fine. So they finished the wall. They narrated things. It didn't fall. Don't worry. Don't wait for that. Don't wait for that plot twist. But I was still angry because I thought that it was a huge waste of money and a lot of risk. That if in the future the wall falls,
yes,
it'll be on us because we built it, right?
Of course.
So I started pressuring him. Why do you build that wall? Why do you build that wall? If the wall falls in the future, it will be our fault. And I thought he grew tired of me pressuring. He said, well, everything that is made by humans needs maintenance. Of course, if we just leave the wall there, it'll fall in 10, 20, 30 years. But if we give maintenance to the wall won't fall, right? So So that is stuck on me, not because of the wall itself, but because everything is like that.
Yes.
In a relationship,
Yes, that's
a
right.
plant, at home. I mean, everything. I mean, your haircut. You need, if you want to maintain it, you need to spend time and resources and effort in maintaining it. So Western civilization, because civilizations go like this.
Yes.
So Western civilization reached the peak. I cannot point exactly where the peak is. It's like timing the market, right?
Yes.
I'm going to buy in the bottom and I'm going to sell at the top. Nobody can do that, right? And so I don't know exactly where was the peak, but we can all agree that we're in the decline.
Yes.
So that is happening because we're not giving the correct maintenance to the civilization. Why? What made the West the leader in the world at the time we're living right now? What caused that to happen? A lot of things, like importing the scientific process, started developing science.
Yes.
Focusing, putting a lot of money into art, into science, into trying to build the best things and as fastest and as best and as great as possible, and importing wisdom and technology and trying to develop new technology and trying to but suddenly when you get wealthy, happens with families too.
Yes, it does.
Then people probably get spoiled, or they get, I want more things, I want that, I want this. You have to provide me that. And politicians, the problem. I mean, democracy is great, right? The U.S. has proven that democracy can work. But the problem with democracy, because everything has pros and cons, the problem with democracy is that politicians have a great incentive to offer, to give away the treasury.
Yes.
So if I say, no, I'm going to keep the treasury, because we might need it, for an emergency or something. Nobody would like that. People would like, oh, I'm going to give away the treasury. So they would vote for him. Then another politician will, you know what, I'm going to give the treasury plus another treasury. So we're going to go into debt, right? Everybody will say, great, let's receive more money from the treasury. And when I say treasury, I mean, anything, building stuff, giving free stuff, sending checks to people.
COVID relief.
Yeah, exactly. Getting, a stimulus, whatever. So the politicians have the incentives of, just giving away the treasury and entering huge amounts of debt. And that doesn't not only destroys the structure of the government, but it also destroys the structure of society. Because if you give, for example, money, okay, if you don't work, I give you money, right? Or if you can shoplift $1,000 a day and still get some money from the government for food, housing, why would you work in that store we shoplifted and probably get in trouble, right? So the incentives are wrong, but it's not only because, maybe they are, but I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories, but it's not only because there are evil politicians or evil people planning everything, which might be the case, but I won't go into that. But just because things, the incentives are wrong.
Yes.
So even a normal, not evil politician has the incentive to give away the treasury because he needs the votes. I mean, he needs to be elected. That's what he needs, right? He needs the votes.
It's the nature of the system.
Yes, it's the nature of the system. So the problem is that democracy works. Nobody can say it doesn't because it worked in the United States, right? But if you don't give maintenance to the system, it will fall like the wall if you don't give maintenance to it. Because the same system will degrade itself. So what you're having right now is a huge erosion of Western civilization. So we have governments pandering to their bases, to their ideology because they mobilize the vote or whatever, looking at what will happen in the election, what we can do to get more votes in the election. I don't want to get into U.S. politics because it's not my, but Yeah,
well,
so,
actually,
okay, so we have this huge voter group. Let's give them something to get their vote. Let's give them, I don't know, $100,000 each. It makes sense, right? To get their votes. But it doesn't make sense for a country. I mean, why would you give $100,000 to each member of a voting group? Right? It should be illegal. But it's not, because who makes laws, right? It's the government. So the system is eroding, and if maintenance, if the maintenance team doesn't go in and fix all the things that have been, degrading the last, 50, 70 years, it will eventually fall.
So if the West doesn't continue to maintain its systems, which you have said, I think correctly, have worked really well for a couple hundred years,
exactly.
They will degrade just like anything else made
just
by
like
human
anything,
hands.
yes.
If you don't maintain it, it will fall, like your house. The question is, does anyone in the West, do its leaders have the will to fix the system that is clearly failing? Do you think that will happen? And if it doesn't, what is the message about democracy to the rest of the world?
Well, the fun thing about anything, about any concept like democracy, that it works until it doesn't, right?
Right, that's right.
It happened with monarchies, it happened with
Right.
anything, right? They say things like, we have to separate religion from state. It worked. It really worked. But it also worked religion with the state at their time.
Yes.
So
Very well.
Yes, very well, until it didn't. So the thing is that things work until they don't, right? So the problem is not democracy. I mean, it's not the concept of democracy. The concept of democracy is great. I mean, imagine the power of the people. Why would the people have the power to decide their own things? It's like the most, I really like the concept. And it's not only a theoretical concept like communism, right? It works. I mean, democracy has been proven to work. George Washington could have been a king if he wanted to.
Yes.
He could have been King George I, right?
Yes.
But he decided, well, not he, but the founding fathers decided that the United States would be a democracy, right? And it worked. Nobody can say it didn't. It worked. But so the fact that democracy appears to not be working, I don't think it's because the concept doesn't work, like church separated from a state or church conjoined with the state.
Yes.
It's just that things work until they don't. So the problem, I think, is not the concept of democracy itself, but the state of the democracy, of democracies in the world right now.
Have we reached the end of the democratic period?
I don't know, but it's maybe the beginning of the end. If a huge maintenance team doesn't come and fix things. It's like, this is not about geopolitics or anything. I'm not going to even mention the countries. But I saw, somebody showed me the 600-meter railway that was built in California. And it cost like, $15 billion, something like that, to build the 600-meter piece of railway that they were building.
It's a lot per meter.
Yes. So, you cannot go on. It's like obvious. It's like somebody eats too much, right? You can be a little fat, right? It's fine. But then if somebody's morbidly fat, somebody will come and say, okay, you have to stop, right? Because, your heart can't take it anymore, right? You have to stop. Or somebody that drinks, I don't drink, but if somebody drinks, the doctor might say, your liver can't take that anymore. Look at your liver, how it is right now. Or the lungs for smoke or whatever. When you see things like that, 600 meters of railway, $15 billion, 10 years, there's no other possible diagnosis. You have to stop that fast now, because if not, the decline is inevitable. It's inevitable. It's already there. It's not like, I'm telling you, I foresee. No. It's there. It's $15 billion to make a 600-meter piece of railway that's not even working. In 10 years, the Empire State was built in a year. 1 year, they built the Empire State. Things were working, right? I don't know how were things back then. I don't know, but they built the Empire State in 1 year. What happened with the World Trade Center Freedom Tower, that was changed the name that later to World Trade Center. How long did it take?
Forever.
Yeah. And it was, the whole country united to build it. There was no budgetary, I know it was private, but it was no, if it needed budgetary, it was not a problem of budget or investors willing to pour money on it or engineers. Why would it take over a decade to build something that was so significant for the whole country? You could build the tallest building in the world. You didn't. You could have built the tallest building in the world and said, okay, we're coming back bigger and stronger. We're going to build, we got a hit, but now we're going to build back better and stronger, build back better and stronger, right? Or whatever. And build it, 2-mile high skyscraper. I'm not a fan of 2-mile high skyscrapers, but you could have done that. You have the money, you have the resources, you have the engineers, you have the market. Because if I built a mile skyscraper, I can fill with offices because I don't have enough market to fill with residences and offices or whatever. You do have the market in New York to to build offices, and you want hotel rooms. It would feel like this, but you didn't. You took over a decade to build a very unimpressive building. So, and that was 23 years ago.
Yes.
Now you're building 600-meter railways with $15 billion. So how long it would take to rebuild the Baltimore Bridge? It should take a year.
How long would it take here?
Here?
Yeah.
A year. 2 years. And we're a small, poor country. We're one of the poorest nations in the world, right?
No, that's why this is so shameful and interesting.
Yeah. Well, the U.S. has they have still unlimited amounts of resources because you can just print money, right? That's another topic, but you can just print whatever, how much it's worth. Would you want to do it, but we want to build it made of gold? You can do anything, right? How much is it? Do it.
So that sounds like a systemic failure. It doesn't sound like...
It's a systemic failure.
Yeah. So what you're describing maybe can't be, maybe that's something that you have to level and rebuild or something. Maybe that's beyond maintenance. I don't know. What is the answer to that?
I don't know, but you need leadership. But I'll tell you something. If you see the mess that we were living here...
Yes.
It's a bigger mess than what you have over there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Just the fact that a third of our population fled the country and went to the United States.
I know.
Gives you an example that the mess we were living here and that we still have in other areas that, not safety, we're the safest country in the Western Hemisphere, but we have problems in other areas, like the economy, for example.
Yeah.
But our problems were bigger than your problems in relative sizes.
So you said
so if you can fix a mess like this in the U.S. with a limited amount of wealth, with scientists, innovation like no other country in the world. Still, the innovation is coming from the U.S. It's more than any other country. Still, right? Even not because of the government, but it has the best innovators, AI.
For sure.
Anything. So you still have the best innovators. You still have the biggest companies. You still have the world reserve currency, the biggest wealth, the biggest GDP. The availability to hire talent from anywhere. You can bring whatever talent you need to fix any gaps. You can pick any. You get it. You get what you want. You still can get what you want. You can't get attacked because you're
too far away.
You're too far away from anyone that wants to attack you, because Mexico or Canada are not going to attack the U.S. So your enemies are too far away, and you still have the biggest army, the biggest armed forces. So
biggest energy reserves.
Yes, and the U.S. like Russia, they were built as superpowers. So it's not like for example, if you see the economy in Spain is very good. It's a robust economy, it's big, G7.
Yeah.
But they are how you say in English, turron, nugget? They sell nugget, right?
Yeah.
Or they sell Iberic ham.
Yeah.
So it's very good, expensive. But you don't actually need that.
Right.
So
Luxury goods.
Luxury goods. So if you sanction Spain, you'll break their economy. But if you sanction Russia, you can't break Russia because they are built as a superpower.
Yes.
So they have wheat, they have energy, they have natural gas, oil.
Yes.
Because they were built like that.
Industrial capacity.
Industrial capacity, factories, workers. So the U.S. is like that too. It was built as a superpower. So you have wheat, you have corn, you have workers, you have blue-collar workers, you have trained, skilled factory workers, you have colleges, you have universities, you have a school system, you have infrastructure, you have cities, tourism, the Mississippi River. I mean, you have everything. You have ships, you have warehouses, agriculture, fertile lands. What you didn't have before you got, right? You took from Mexico or whatever. So the U.S. was built to be a superpower, right? Acquire land, acquire fertile lands, Texas was part of Mexico, but it's part of the U.S. and you have all the oil there. So, and then you have California. And the U.S. is built as a superpower. So the U.S. has everything to go on for 1,000 years. It's not like it's doomed to fail. But apparently the leaders, or most of them, you have probably very good leaders, but most of the leaders, they're not seeing it. They either are evil, or this is not conspiracy theory. It's just the options you have. Either they're evil, and they want to destroy the U.S. because of some evil reason, or they're puppets, and they are being handled by people that need the U.S. to be destroyed for some reason, or they're incompetent, and they just doing wrong stuff because they're not capable of doing the right stuff, or sorry I said three, but the incentives, right? Changing a country and changing a lot of things that are badly done probably will anger some people, right? Some groups, some lobbies, some interests. If you say, okay, we're going to stop the railway that's costing us $15 billion per 600 meters, a lot of companies will be angry, a lot of, mayors. You have a system that needs to be handled. So, and that needs leadership, and it needs a clear mandate that is probably a little hard to get in the U.S. because of the opposite views and the bipartisanship, but you need to do it. Right?
Well, ultimately, as you well know, since you've succeeded in it so thumpingly, the instrument for all of that is the ballot, is the election itself. Like, how many votes do you get? That's your mandate. Mm-hmm. But I think there is a sense among a lot of non-conspiracy-minded voters in the United States that part of the system is itself corrupt.
Yes.
And that it is actually hard to affect change through voting because is